Yeah, oh, thumbs up. Yeah, cool. Right. So, yeah, welcome to this week's Weekly Group Coaching Session as part of the Personal Brand Hub. The Personal Brand Hub is a community which I've created for founders that are on a similar mission to build memorable and recognizable personal brands that position them as the go-to experts within their industry. If you guys could keep yourselves on mute unless I call you. Again, as I said, it will be a collaborative session. So I might get you guys involved as we go. So feel free to unmute yourself if I asked you. But yeah, so this week what we're going to be looking at is who has said yes to you, i.e. clients, and why. And then what we're going to do is mine those experiences for better messaging and positioning. So it really runs off the back of sort of last week's session. If you want to catch up with that, as I said, it'll be on the Personal Brand Hub around positioning 101. But this is actually taking real conversations and genuine experiences that you've had with your clients and molding that into your messaging and positioning, not what you think or not what you want. Right. So if you've been here before, you'll recognize my personal brand framework for founders, the Be More You framework. So it's an anagram. Now, first of all, we've got beliefs. So what do you stand for? What do you stand against? What are your experiences? What lived experiences can you bring to build that emotional connection with people? The moments, James and I were going through some of these the other day. What are the everyday scenarios, the everyday conversations you're having that are worth sharing? Opinions, because no one's going to buy from someone with no opinions that's completely vanilla. And that is a fundamental part of helping you stand out and become more memorable. So it goes back to beliefs. Results, social proof never goes amiss, showing people how great you are at what you do. But the difference between results and expertise is results is other people saying, I think you're great. And expertise is going, this is what I can do. This is my process and this is my solution. So it's you saying it rather than someone else saying it. Your why, so what gets you out of bed in the morning, the old Simon Sinek term. Also your mission. So James, for you, James Knox, gonna have to Knox. I'm gonna call you Noxy. Sorry. Is helping the younger generation, right? Others, so appreciating others, and that's collaborations. That is because I was thinking about this earlier. Working with others, appreciating others, mentors, previous colleagues, previous bosses. It helps build trust, but also collaborations helps widen your network. And a network in personal branding is fundamental. Lastly, unfiltered. Now, I'm not telling you to F and blind like me. I'm telling you to drop the filter sometimes and be more you. It sort of sums it all up in one kind of nice word, unfiltered. So it's just dropping that professional facade that I find a lot of us have sort of built up over, maybe it's a corporate career, or maybe it's even when you were 18 working in a hospitality job. You're taught to put up and shut up and be this professional person. Whereas if you drop that sometimes, you will attract, it will be easier to attract the people that align with you. And shared consistently, what will happen is you'll attract better clients, opportunities, talent, and even investment into your organization. So, oh my bloody screen. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Am I back? Sorry about that. Story time. So, why did they say yes? Now, firstly, have any of you not specifically asked this question, but have any of you gone back to previous? Oh, Gary's ready. Have any of you gone back to previous clients and said something similar along these lines? Go on, Gary.
Oh, sorry, I'm not carry on.
Oh,
I
you
was,
unmuted yourself, ready to go. I can see when people unmute themselves, and I thought you were actually chomping at the bit to share something.
I've got, well, I had a client that I didn't enjoy working with, right?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because she was a pain in the arse when it came to communication. You know, I
Okay.
would I would send drafts of things and it would take weeks for things to get back, and then she would show it to all her family and friends before making a decision, and
Yeah.
it took months and months. And I kind of said to myself, I don't want to work with her again. But yeah, then just recently she got in touch asking about social media packages. And I said, well,
Sure.
but I laid it out very clearly how the communication would have to work in terms of if I don't hear from you in 40 hours, I'm going to post it, you know. And she's
What did
accepted
she
it
say?
all.
Right?
She's been totally cool at it. She's been a lot better this time around, I think, because I set my stall out beforehand to say, like, I'm
Yeah,
not interested in getting mucked about and spending
yeah.
weeks. And so
It's
that's
about knowing your worth.
yeah, and it's about
Yeah,
I think as well, it's about setting boundaries and saying
yeah,
this is what I will accept and this is what I won't accept, you know. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's knowing your worth. Brilliant. Love that. Be careful though.
Yeah.
She might fall back into it, so you need to keep her on a tight.
She already has this week and I'm just thinking, well, screw it. If she doesn't get back to me today,
Yeah,
I'm posting on Sunday. So
yeah, just be wary.
yeah.
What will happen if you ask this question? It's a bloody powerful question, and I guarantee what they say is not what you expect. People are not buying from you because of your Be More You framework or because you can help them build a personal brand. You know, it will probably come down to something a lot more, let's say, emotional, because you felt, because they'll say something like, because I felt heard when I spoke to you, or I like the way you communicate. And then when you take those things, you can then work them into your messaging, which we'll come on to. And that's when there's that moment of realization when you stop creating your messaging around what you think your clients want and why you think they buy from you. And then you switch it to actually what to the real reason they buy from you. What's the reality? Why is this question a weapon? Because it forces you out of this, as I said, it forces you out of this fantasy land of where now it's important to, I suppose, stick to your guns and what and the type of people that you're best placed to help and who you want to help. But you can often, business owners, founders can go down this route of pivoting every 2 seconds because you think that, you know, the flashiest new thing. But if you go out and actually listen to your clients and the kind of things that they're A, struggling with, and B, the pain points that, you know, the B, the challenges and pain points they're buying from you, and why they said yes to you, is going to help shape your positioning, content, offers, and everything. It acts, it will act as your North Star, and we'll come in a second to some techniques on how to approach your existing client base and how then to take that and weave that into your positioning, content, offers, and everything else. It's the difference between assuming and knowing. Sorry, this is the only weapon. This is the only picture of me holding a weapon. I was shooting clays, by the way. I wasn't shooting any animals, promise. Where you are going wrong, where you're guessing what matters to your audience based on what you want and value. Now, I should be careful here. Now, I'm going to take that value out because it's important to stick to your values. Totally, I respect that. But as I said a minute ago, founders can often get this tunnel vision of this is what I think you need. And quite often it's not what they need and not what they want and not why they bought from you. So that's why that needs to be that constant loop of communication throughout that from the day you sign them up as a client to maybe even 2 years down the line when they're still working with you, you retain them and you're helping them. Because the reasons they work with you change and evolve, right? It's not necessarily going to be what they said on day one to day 90. They're going to realize different things that you bring to the table. And it's really important that you're asking those questions. Why are you still working with me? What have you enjoyed about working with me? What do I bring to the table? What have I helped you realize? It's just that constant feedback loop. You'll be talking about features and not feelings and reeling off your services like it's a takeaway menu. I did the post recently about the virtual assistants, and how quite often I come across quite a lot of them and they'll just reel off, I do this and I do inbox management and I can manage your calendar like it's a takeaway menu. You know, that's not why people buy from you, your services. They buy from you because of the feeling you give them. You polish everything before it gets seen. And by doing that, you're just erasing everything that makes it relatable. This is where our professional facade comes in and goes, no, no, we can't say that. No, God, I'm worried about what people might think. Well, my solution to you, my answer to you is be more you. Because if you polish everything before it gets seen, you're going to try, what you're trying to do is appeal to everyone. And by appealing to everyone, you appeal to no one. Your messaging sounds clever and not clear. So it's coming up with all this fancy language and not actually speaking to anyone individual. Right, I've got a prompt here that I've created, which you're more than welcome to screenshot, or I'll send it to you afterwards in an email, and you can use this. Okay, so that's what this bit is on the right-hand side. So if you're in person with clients, which I know some of you are, I rarely am, sadly, I would love to be. These are the kind of things that you need to be listening out for. Emotional triggers. So I was frustrated after you asked the question, right? So you've asked the question, why did you say yes to working with me? This is what you then need to be listening to. Emotional triggers. I was frustrated. I was stuck. I was so bloody relieved when you came into my life. In fact, I have a testimonial, which I haven't. Normally, I'm quite strict on dictating and controlling the narrative around my testimonials, as Gary knows. But this testimonial I was given sort of hit the nail on the head from someone. And the first line of that testimonial is, Ben came into my life because the algorithm knew I needed him, or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's gold dust. So her requirement was she needed me. She needed someone to tell her, drop the professional facade and be more you. Look out for key phrases like, I felt like you got me, or you put into words what I couldn't say. Also, timing clues as well. So a lot of the stuff that I do is bring clarity, and by building a personal brand, you gently push away clients that you're not best placed to help, or that you hate working with, Gary. And quite often there'll be things that you hear like, I've just come off a nightmare client, or I knew I needed help with visibility. So do you see now, I've helped you with this in particular, Gary, by helping, like, well, they seem to come back to you, but now you've set the boundaries in place. But do you see how if I take that, I've just come off working with a nightmare client, and put that into my messaging or my content and go, I can't really think off the top of my head like what I would write, but do you see how if I take that, it will then attract people that have also got nightmare clients, and I can help them I can help them build personal brands by pushing those clients away. So by taking what my existing clients are saying, I can then help attract similar clients with similar problems, which I'm best placed to help and who I love helping. Do you get me? Or I knew I needed help with visibility. So again, that's another problem I'm good at solving. And if I put that into my content, then I'm going to attract people that have that challenge and pain point. That is the real value, what people are saying, not a takeaway menu of services. So your messaging memory bank, document every yes moment that you've had from a client, whether it's in a call transcript or on your notes on your phone. So if you're doing it in person, I know it's quite tricky to, you can't go and secretly record stuff because that's obviously illegal and against client confidentiality. But after the meeting, I was saying this to you, James, the other day, whilst it's fresh in your mind, go outside, write it in your notes. This is what they said, what they liked, what clicked in their head. And then you've got that. And then you can use that information to plug in to ChatGPT afterwards. Look for patterns, not just who they are, but what was going on for them at the time. What sort of feelings and emotions were going on for them. And then the gold dust is you put that into ChatGPT and you go, right, this is what my clients are saying about me, and these are the kind of problems that I'm best placed to solve. And then it turns it, or it refines your existing headline or your caption or your about section or your email intros. Or what I do now, right, is I create ideal customer persona documents for me and my clients. And I will update that based on feedback I receive from my clients. So Ben, you helped me do this. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I was good at that. So I'll then take that and update my ideal customer profile document. And I know it seems like, you're constantly updating it and, it's not a pivot. It's adding a tool into your toolbox that you didn't realize you had. Does that make sense? So you might not realize you're good at something. I had a guy that overheard one of my coaching calls, a friend of mine, and he said, Ben, you're really good at this. And I was like, am I? So I took that. I said, that's really valuable information that you've given me there. Can you send that to me in a voice note or something? Or I shouldn't have been so lazy. I should have wrote it down myself. But no, but he could word it better. He could word it better. So it's always best coming out the client's mouth. It's always best coming out the client's mouth. And take what they've said, and use that to refine your about section, your headline, your ideal customer persona document, your emails, your freaking website, whatever it might be, because that's what's going to help attract people that you're better placed to help. Oh, Ben's good at this, and he can help with this. I'm blabbering now, so there we go. Then ask ChatGPT to build your own reasons they bought file, or as I said, ideal customer persona profile. This is your best North Star document for content and messaging. It's going to stop you, not, with these mini pivots that we constantly have. It's just going to keep you on that straight and narrow, sticking to what you do best and who you're best placed to help. This is how I've taken that information recently from one of my clients who has had a prospect reach out to her. This is literally word for word. I copied and pasted it. What she received, my client. You definitely share my kind of personality from what I've seen. And I read that and I was like, that is exactly what I want to do. That sums up what a personal brand, a memorable and strong and recognizable personal brand does. It attracts people that say, you definitely share my kind of personality from what I've seen. Right? It does more than that. It builds trust and value. It builds recognizability, and it helps people understand your value as well, building a personal brand before they even reach out. As I say, with a personal brand, sorry, half the sale is already complete before you even sit down with someone. If you've got a personal brand, you haven't really got much work to do if you're actually building that personal brand. The shiz that actually works. People say yes to specificity. It's not the right kill. That's a tongue twister. Specificity over slickness. So who are you speaking to? This goes back to your niche, right? And we've done loads of talks on niches, and we'll come back to it. And I'm not one of those guys that advocates everyone should niche. I'm a guy that advocates you should niche if you are really clear and you're experienced enough to know who you're best placed to help and who you love helping. So who are you targeting? Who are you speaking to? Who's that ideal customer persona? Story over strategy. So your lived experiences, as I say here, are way more powerful than a beige list of services. I had 2 coffee chats yesterday with networking people. They told me their story and why they do what they do and their mission. I went to their LinkedIn profile as we were talking, didn't say a bloody word about about their lived experience. So basically, in a nutshell, right? One of the guys had gone through a personal awakening, and now he runs a business which is based off his real lived experience. And it didn't mention any of that in his messaging. He hasn't even. I don't think I even saw any content about it. Another example, my story, right? I built a personal brand over 4 years. I did it myself. I was on the coalface, and that's now I coach other people to replicate what I did. Sorry. So that's my story. That's my lived experience. It helps build credibility. It helps build trust. And stories, I mean, stories are just, it's just so much more powerful, right? It's not AI. It's something people can buy. Right. Have any of you got marketing emails come through, right? Who gets marketing? Who signed up to a newsletter? or probably you get some from me, I'm sure, every now and again. Um,
Every
you
week.
right, they'll tell a story. Well, I hope mine do anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think mine. Yeah, sometimes they don't. But the ones I have for my sales funnels, for example, so my 4 weeks free coaching, after the 4 weeks free coaching, a lot of after that is my story. So you speak to any copywriter. There's a guy I follow on Instagram, story seller Chris, Scottish guy, Gary. He's very funny as well, very dry, dark humor. Um, he writes stories, and his emails are bloody brilliant. I love them. Anyway, you know the importance of stories and relevance over reach. So when does this message matter to me as the reader right now? It's about timing, context, and resonance. Okay. So
Yeah.
last but not least,
We've been doing a
go on,
lot of
Gary.
that. And we've been doing a lot of that recently, Ben, in terms of
Yeah.
me kind of going back and telling a bit of my, not like my story, but what I did previously, like, playing in lots of different bands and touring with things and stuff, and trying
People
to,
buy into that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And James Hartley, my new client, I won't share it, don't worry, but he's been incredibly candid with me and sharing his story. And I love that. I love hearing that stuff. It's brilliant. And that's what builds emotional connection with people and helps attract the right people, right? So
Yeah.
even on like the most, I shouldn't say this, but like even on the most basic level, you're talking about your background in a band, that's going to attract people that love music, like going to gigs, and instantly you've got a point of conversation, which gives
Mhm.
you that extra ability, that extra step up to build rapport with that person. It's
Yeah.
all set. It all goes back to sales, basically.
And if I'm on any networking events in person or online, and
Yeah,
and so for example, if I'm having an online networking and I can see there's guitars in the background, I'll always
yeah,
kind of bring that up with
right.
that person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
because
exactly.
it's a point of conversation. It gets the chat going, and
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. But I'm conscious of time, so if any of you need to drop off, don't worry. I won't. No, I won't say anything. But three things that you can do this week: message three great clients. What made you say yes when we started? While it's fresh in their mind, because as I said at the beginning of the call, those reasons can evolve, and it's important to, which is fine, and you will capture those later down the line. But it's also important to capture the reason they bought from you in the first place. Okay, because as you go down that, as time goes on, they'll start to get to know you and what your skills are and what you're really good at, and that will change and evolve. So you really need to capture it first and off the bat. Identify two or three common themes. What are they feeling? Right, remember the time things, the emotional triggers, the time triggers. Reflect, what are you downplaying? What are you not even mentioning that others find magnetic in you? So typically my client, and then you can word, this is when you put it into your messaging. Typically, my clients tell me that I am, I hear them and I listen to them and I make them feel heard or something like that, right? Do you get where I'm coming from? Right. So I've been talking for about over 20 minutes now. Um, Next week, any questions, we'll come back to it in a second, by the way. So don't worry. Next week, we've got, that is next week, right? Yeah. What the hell do I even talk about? So content, we're going back to content ideas and how to generate them, and mining your day-to-day experiences. So we're going to go and touch on the moments part of Be More You. Week after that, your vibe is the strategy. Your vibe attracts your tribe, bro, as Hormozy says. The week after that, why you're attracting the wrong people. So fix your content so it pulls in the right fit clients and filters out the flaky ones. I've had plenty of experience of that in my last business. Week after that, visibility feels dangerous. Here's why. Your story isn't boring. You're just telling it like a bio, mate. And these, just as a reflection as well, these ideas, right, that I've come up with for the next couple of weeks. By the way, you're welcome to say, Ben, can you cover this, please? But these ideas are based off genuine conversations I've been having with people. So these, Ben, these are the kind of stuff that I'm struggling with. That I have as you know, I have coffee chats all the time and I speak to people and I say, what are you struggling with? What do you find tricky? So go out and ask people. Just go out and listen to them. What are they saying? What are they struggling with? And I hope, tell me if I'm wrong, that these are the kind of things that you guys are struggling with. James, I know that you're not attracting the wrong people. That's not a challenge of yours, but there might be other things here that do feel that they resonate with you. And same for the other James and Gary. Right, I think we'll go to have a chit chat. How did you all find that? I'll stop the recording so you can all swear.